We're live. All right, we're going to check it right here.
I was going to say, wait till that guy leaves.
Oh, well, he's just kind of getting there. Oh. That's the heat is on, fam, and the heat is on. We are checking it now. We are live. Welcome back to the Convo Couch. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And we are live in Fort Lauderdale Beach over here as this shipment right there, fam, is going to China. It's goods and services. You can see it back there in the background.
Had to bring in China. You just had to. If Gloria Jones is watching, she knows that you're always bringing up China to every single person. Like, come on, fam.
Anybody who's got to go into Congress is going to have to deal with China. They should have a knowledge of what's going on. So that's why I'm obsessed with China. But I can tell you what some people obsessed over yesterday, fam, which was kind of nauseating to me. That's day one. We're going to do a little recap of the Democratic Convention. Fam, initial thoughts.
It was bogus. I mean, I told people to actually not watch it unless you're media or you have to watch it. I think it's progressive shouldn't have watched it. They should have boycotted the whole thing because it's a sham, fam. It's a sham, fam. It really is a sham. Like it's. I mean, they didn't adopt a single thing that progressives wanted. Not Medicare for all, not marijuana legalization. Joe Biden has said that he is going to veto everything. Wall Street is happy they picked Kamala Harris. You know, we're fighting in the streets. People are fighting against police brutality. They picked the, quote, top cop, as she self-describes herself. And they invite Republicans on stage. And yet all of these same people were trying to vilify Tulsi Gabbard just last year and into 2020 as a fake Democrat, as a Republican. And they vilified her so hard, like they tried to ruin her. And she took out Kamala Harris. And it's just really hypocritical. I mean, John Kasich really speaking there, Michelle Obama speaking, Bernie Sanders spoke, and it just felt disgusting to see him go down so low. The man who said no middle ground literally got up there and just literally shilled for the Democratic Party. And I don't care how many excuses Bernie supporters give. Oh, well, he had to sign this and that. No, he doesn't. There is nothing legally that makes him actually unable to criticize the Democratic Party or people like AOC. We'll see what happens when she uses her 60 seconds to say that. Yeah. Because I don't think I don't think it matters. I don't care if she has 60 seconds to speak if she's not going to criticize the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's any more about Democrat versus Republican or anything like that. It's just pro-Trump versus anti-Trump. So they're taking any Republican they can on stage. John Kasich was there yesterday. And let me tell you something. A man could say 1,000 words, but really not say one thing. It was just platitude salad after platitude salad. You know, we got to unite. We got to come together. It's all about decency. So you heard the word decency, just implying that we have an indecent president.
The soul of the Democratic Party. How many times do they have to say we have to fight for the soul of the party? I don't give a shit about the soul of the Democratic Party. Like, what does that have to do with policies? They can't talk about policy because their policy is the same as the Republicans. And people like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's running against Jim Perlman here, she has voted for Trump's military budget. She gives money to Donald Trump, then turns around and says we have to get rid of him. Yeah.
I think it started with the BS with Jim Clyburn from South Carolina. He made a statement. He says, Joe understands and knows law. I'm like, yeah, he wrote the crime bill and he also supported the Patriot Act. That's precisely why I'm not going to vote for him, because I know he knows law and he's going to screw us in the end. And then it continued on with Kasich with the platitude salad. But let's go back to the Bernie situation, because for me, fam, that was the nail in the coffin. I do care about the soul of the Democratic Party. I hope the soul dies and goes up to heaven and goes away and it gets destroyed. But for Bernie Sanders, it was quite I don't care, just go away. It was quite disturbing for me. I think that was it for me for Bernie Sanders. I'm not saying cancel culture. It's just that he is totally persona non grata. The speech yesterday hurt. I think Niko House had the best statement last week when on Twitter he says everything that Bernie accuses Trump of, Biden has already done. Everything he accuses the Republicans of, the Democrats do. Now he's in this lost no man's land, fam. Where do you sit with Bernie Sanders now moving forward, especially after last night?
I mean, I think for a while we parted ways with Bernie. A lot of us that understand what's happening here, in the sense, like, we appreciate what he did and who he was and what he accomplished by getting people awake. But aside from that, that's it. That's where we part ways. I mean, he has literally become what he was set out to fight. And this is what we're seeing in the entire, even from the squad. I mean, people make excuses for them, but they have to do this, that it's Nancy Pelosi and this and that. But then what's the point of getting people in the Democratic Party who are progressive if they're going to fold time and time again? And not to mention the fact that this is all policy based. It's not even about my feelings. It's about policy. And Bernie knows that Joe Biden isn't going to really change. Like, this idea that we're going to push Joe Biden left is so wrong, because you're not going to push him left because he's still taking that money. He's still taking the lobbyist money, that corporate money. There's like no pushing him left on that. And you need to understand that. Like, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance from people still trying to work within the party in a sense of believing that, that's going to change. And I asked Jen Perlman that question today. Like, people want to go in a third party. They want to be independent. In states like this, it's nearly impossible to do. So I agree with that. But like, if you can do something right now, is build outside, and we're seeing new movements emerge. And I just think like Bernie Sanders, just the guy said, if I ever tell you to vote for, don't listen to me. And I just feel like it felt like he was like, I don't know if it was threatened. It felt so wrong. It felt like he didn't mean to. Like, he didn't want to say those words. It did not go well. And I think a lot of people were upset and disheartened, and literally isn't holding the Democratic Party accountable. And they cheated him twice, in 2016 and in 2020. And he has never addressed the election fraud.
Yeah. Also, too, you were saying about policy. I think it was they never talked about policy last night, fam, and that was something that was just really disgusting. Even Marianne M. Williams came out and said, listen, but not once did you address systemic racism. Not once did you address poverty. And if Marianne Williamson can see through it, we should all be able to see through it. That's her spirit mom. What's the Orba mom we call her?
The Orba mom, yeah. And she specifically also mentioned, like, black, racial reparations issue, because the Democratic Party, as you guys saw, loves to tokenize 100% like Latinos and black people. They were talking about, Kamala would be the first female woman of color VP. Oh my God, it's so amazing. And they talk about, look, we're changing because we have now more people of color. More people of color, what? To lead the corruption in the Democratic Party? I mean, where does that get us? It's like the meme with the snake with a little unicorn hat. That's the Democratic Party. The Republican Party is just a snake. Like, it's just, at least the Republican Party shows us who they are. They don't care. They don't want us. We know where we stand with them. But with the Democratic Party, they lie and they pretend to be your friend. I mean, we saw Debbie earlier today. You met her and you think, like, wow, she's the nicest lady. You don't think she does behind the scenes and how she manipulates things. And so that is the Democratic Party. And I just don't understand over and over again why progressives also don't really focus building outside. We have some of our best organizers trying to still work within it. And time again, they spit in your face and you still take them back. It's like a bad boyfriend that you're still taking back. Yeah, and the propaganda program that just went on again is just saying these platitudes over and over and over again, and saying so many words but really not meaning anything. It was pretty disgusting all throughout, and what really put the icing on the cake for me last night was this kind of like imitation Prince song at the end, closing out the show. I thought it was a parody account. I don't know if you saw it here, but if you go to my Twitter @YoPasta, I have it up. It closed out the Democratic Party. It was just weird and creepy and just fake. It really summarized the whole night. It was just fake, like the Democratic Party. And, going forward, I don't see this party having any chance really to beat Donald Trump. I don't see Joe Biden or and Kamala Harris really pulling it through. And it was kind of funny, too, even when they had the whole past candidates, all the candidates on the stage, giving all their messages and paying it forth to Joe Biden. They left one person out, fam. Guess who didn't put in there? Tulsi Gabbard, of course.
Of course, they left Tulsi Gabbard out. So I hope the Congresswoman is watching, because I think it's walking time. Grab your shoes, grab your papers, and go. Because the Democratic Party, ding dong, fam, they are dead. And and Elizabeth Warren and all these neoliberals fell in line, or all of them promoting Joe Biden. People who have criticized him heavily are now all of a sudden, the slate is wiped clean, and now all of a sudden he's a champion of the people, and he's going to fight there for all of us. And it's ridiculous. Nobody's buying it. There weren't that many people who are actually watching
last night. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of people were not watching. Like, especially young people. They are seeing through the bullshit and they're done with it. This is why young people don't vote, because you tell them to vote and they wait in line for 7 hours, then you don't even count their vote. Yeah. So why the hell would they vote? And then you give them candidates like Joe Biden. Yeah. Are you serious? Or like to fight Donald Trump? Why do you think Donald Trump got elected in the first place? And this is even Lindsey Graham made a tweet today that I had to agree with, and it sucks because I hate that guy. But Lindsey Graham said that we have Trump because of Obama. And it's 100% true. It's not obviously just because of Obama, but years of neoliberalism that led to people feeling abandoned by the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, who used to be the workers' party, as Jen mentioned in our interview, is no longer that party. Yeah. So, like, if you don't hold them accountable by restraining your vote, what are you doing? What do you have? We don't have power in the electorate. We only have our vote and what's going on protest-wise now. And they're mocking it in the face by choosing a top cop who jailed more black and brown people than anybody else. I mean, it feels like we're in a shitty timeline, and I don't even know where to go from here.
I already forgot the name. I should have said it. You were talking about tweets today when it comes to Lindsey Graham. We were hoping to get some good news today from Donald Trump, of all people. He was talking that he was going to pardon somebody today, pardon somebody big. Not named Snowden, not named Flynn, which were the two, like, a lot of people have been hoping for. Flynn, a lot of people feel like, regardless if you're a Democrat or a Republican, unless you're an establishment Democrat, a lot of people feel like he's moved and maneuvered into this kind of this prosecution situation and this deal he took for lying to the FBI. I mean, he got caught at cocktail hour. So even if you're not really pro-Flynn, they kind of felt bad and thought he should have been pardoned. We are all hoping for Edward Snowden next on the list because Donald Trump said he'll take a look at it. But he said not those two names. Some of us actually said, what if it is Julian Assange? What if Julian Assange has given up his contact and said it's Seth Rich? You know what I'm saying? All the speculation, all the rumors were out there today. We don't know, but it came across, and he did not pardon anybody. He pardoned, what was the person's name? It was on my phone. I was going to look it up. Thank you, Susan B. Anthony from 1870-something. She was arrested for voting as a woman, and so he went back. The symbolism, fam. You got to give me the symbolism. Donald Trump is playing identity politics.
Just like the Democrats, the Republican establishment also plays identity politics. I mean, we're not saying it's only the Democrats. They both do it. But again, this is why people are tired of this one giant aisle of a system, this oligarchy, because they just play games and we're stuck in the middle. Again, Congress went on a vacation while not accepting Donald Trump's measly, but at the very least something, his package, his relief of $400 and the extension, etc. And then they went on break and they didn't offer anything in return. So again, Donald Trump is looking better than the Republicans at this point. But then he goes and does something stupid. I'm not saying Susan B. Anthony shouldn't be pardoned. That should have been done a no-brainer a long time ago. But like, if you're talking about trying to win the election, right? You want to get these libertarians, these independents, these people who care about civil liberties on your side, Donald. Why the hell aren't you pardoning Julian Assange if the Democrats are vilifying the possibility of him doing that? I mean, this is how the neoliberals come out. This is what they become. When Donald Trump said something positive about Julian Assange, maybe doing it or not, the Democrats were like, oh, I can't believe he's doing that, as if Julian Assange wasn't a fucking hero. I mean, this is where we're at here. Like, we're vilifying journalists. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and the sad thing is, we're here in 2020 in the elections. We're in Florida, a place a lot of shenanigans has always taken place when it comes to our election system. Nothing has changed. And in fact, I feel that we've gone backwards. We haven't done anything. We haven't learned any lessons. I mean, there's some stuff on the surface where, we were woken, I guess, to what's going on. Still, I think everybody's running in different directions. We're not looking at the important parts when it comes to our elections here in Florida right now. Just feeling it. I'm just so... What's going to happen today with today's vote? We saw Tim Canova get screwed in 2016, screwed in 2018. What's going to happen in 2020? Nothing has really changed. The same people are afraid that even if Jen Perlman was able to bring enough people to the table, that it's not going to count anyways because they think it's okay to cheat. And and once again, the whole process of shoving a candidate like Joe Biden down our throats Fam, where have we gone? It's 2020. Have we got anything?
No, I don't think we've got, you know what? I think we've gotten the awareness of things. That's it. Like, people have seen the ugliness. And I think that's part of the reason why people hate Donald Trump, because he exposes the ugliness that people don't want to deal with. They want to go back to brunch. They want to go back to how things were before. They don't want to see just how corrupt everything is. It's cognitive dissonance. And I think if we're talking about the United States Postal Service situation, while I agree that's a very important situation, the Democratic Party is absolutely manipulating it just because it's Donald Trump. Never for once think they give a crap about election integrity. We have been screaming about election integrity since 2015, since we knew that Bernie Sanders was going to be cheated, and since they treated him that way. And nothing has been done. In fact, we were called conspiracy theorists by the Bernie Sanders campaign for talking about what was going to happen in California, in LA, by having people there to talk about it. Even the campaign doesn't address it. The Democratic Party only addresses it when it's used to go against Donald Trump and they can get some sort of political capital out of it, but not when it actually matters. They're never going to address the fact that, yes, vote by mails can be manipulated. We've seen tubs of them in Wisconsin. They're never going to address the fact that the machines aren't proprietary software. I mean, they're never going to do that unless Donald Trump is doing it. And that's their whole thing. All the Democratic Party has right now is, oh, we're not Trump. That's it. They don't have anything else, and that's just not going to be enough. I believe Donald Trump's going to win his reelection, and a lot of people don't think that. A lot of people think that because of coronavirus, he's going to lose. And I think that cost him a lot, but I still think the Democrats are so bad, especially with how fake they are, and the Congress not giving anything to the people. I think that definitely shows Donald Trump is outlefting them in some parts. To a lot of people who may not know all the intricacies, I think it's going to help him.
Yeah. Well, the thing that really made my jaw drop yesterday, we were talking about policies too, when Bernie Sanders was criticizing Donald Trump about the rent situation. I was like, yeah, but guess what? The Democrats had nothing in the HEROES Act, almost the same thing. They had a little bit more securities, but nothing to really deal with the freaking situation of cancellation that needs to happen because people are going to be evicted. The tsunami situation in California, we're about reenacting proposition, reenact rule number 1, which is trying to get the 90 days to open up the court earlier than what Gavin Newsom originally said. They're talking about Prop 1486, I believe it is, which is about, not letting that stuff go on credit and slowing down the tsunami, and also about canceling rent. They're yelling about all these things. None was addressed by the legislation. None was addressed by the Democrats. They tried to put a lot of pork inside their bill, ended on over, and a lot of what was reflected last night. I think we do have some positives coming out of last night. John Kasich did not give a good enough speech where he can be the presidential nominee for the Democrats in 2024. Instead, he will be the Democratic vice president nominee behind Mitt Romney, who will be your presidential Democratic candidate in 2024. That's just my prediction.
And it's funny because I saw Maria Estrada, who is a candidate running against a corrupt Democrat, Anthony Rendon, in California for state assembly. She said something on Facebook today that was like, I don't know why everyone's mad at me for not voting for Joe Biden when the Democrats are inviting Republicans to speak at their convention. And it's ridiculous. Like, the Democratic Party is no longer, like, I don't think they have been for a long time. They haven't been for a long time. Like, they're pretty much Republicans full on. Yeah. And they have embraced neocons like George Bush, like the McCains, like Kasich, even Pompeo, they were praising him. Yeah. Like, this is where we're at here.
They fell in line with Liz Cheney when it came to the votes there. It's just ridiculous. So, I mean, hey, what are you going to do moving forward? It's a sad situation. Republicans, and they didn't even take the good Republicans. They took John Kasich, the union buster. You're supposed to be the Labor Party. You take the union buster, and a guy who doesn't believe in women's choice. I mean, a theocrat they took on the stage. They didn't ask Rand Paul or Thomas Massey, the guys who are at least anti-interventionist, you know what I'm saying? But they asked the worst Republicans, and the Republicans that really stuck fundamentally. Yeah.
And not to mention the whole situation with Ralph Nader, like reportedly Bernie not wanting to be associated with or to be Ralph Nader himself. Yeah. Like, it's ironically costing him because Ralph Nader is somebody that needs to exist. People like him outside voices need to exist. And to the way the Democratic Party establishment has vilified people like him really shows you that they're not ever going to welcome progressives. You can fight and try as hard as you can to be accepted into the cool kids club, but they're never going to accept you. They're friends with Republicans behind your back. back, and they're always going to betray you and choose their lobbyists and their corporate friends over you, no matter what you do. So why don't we stop trying to fit in with them and do our own thing? I mean, that always usually goes better for us in real life. Why is it somehow accepted that in politics you have to be a cunning, political, manipulative, like sort of person that has no morals to actually succeed? It just, that's not going to be acceptable from here on out. And I think Jen mentioned something like, you know, it's going to change as the older generations who are not budging start to die out. I mean, I think that is going to change, but I also think we don't have time for incrementalism. We don't have time for incremental change. I think people need to demand it. Where are these Bernie delegates? Like, we're going to protest. Like, what power do they have? Even with, you know, their actions, like if the Democratic Party establishment is waiting for them to fall in line, if they have been vilified this entire time, and you saw the things on Twitter where they put pictures of Bernie Sanders, like it's just gross. It's disgusting. They have spent the last 5 years smearing him, and now they're using him to try to talk about unity. We're never going to unite with a corrupt party. It's just not going to happen.
No unity without accountability. You know, when Milano was praising Bernie Sanders, it's time to say goodbye, Bernie. So day 2 is tonight. It's 8 o'clock. I don't know if I should watch a hockey game or a Democratic convention, but AOC is speaking, mentioning Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader wrote a letter to AOC. In fact, he found common ground of like, hey, this is something like where you can go after Trump for this, but you should go after him for this reason. He really set it up in 3 different areas, and she didn't respond to it. She is not a progressive by any means. You know, I first saw this when she kind of did what she did to Max Blumenthal. She's doing the same thing to Ralph Nader, ghosting them. But she does speak tonight for a minute, fam. So what do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. Here's my problem with that. Like, I think it's wrong that they gave her a minute, okay? But some of us waited 9 hours to speak 60 seconds on election integrity. Myself, Pasta had to go home because we were waiting like literal 9 hours. Yeah, our friend viewer Glory Jones waited 9 hours at 19 years old to speak about the corruption of the elections, and it became about AOC getting 60 seconds rather than the fact that the Democratic Convention is a sham. Like it always becomes about AOC, and I'm apprehensive of people who make things all about them. Yeah. Like it's not about you. If you're not going to speak on behalf of the progressive movement, if you're not going to go after the corruption of the Democratic Party, which I don't expect her to, because on Twitter, all she does is literally go after Republicans. And I get that might be a political maneuver, but guess what? It's never worked. It's never worked. You're never that capable and smart to trick them. They change you, you start changing. And that's what I feel like I'm seeing. And then it becomes about her and not about the fact that we shouldn't even bother with these people. We should be calling them out for what they've done. Instead, we're over here praising them and telling and getting everybody, all of your millions of followers who supported you, to go in there and fight the system, to tell them to vote for that same system. Yeah. It's just,
I think it's going to backfire, this whole mentality of being really tribal and just attacking Republicans no matter what. When she went after Bobby Jindal today, who was an ex-governor of Louisiana, Bobby Jindal said something for real. He says, listen, it's kind of crazy that they took Kasich on the stage and give Kasich more time than AOC, but AOC took the comment and used it for a chance to attack the Republican in a way that really had nothing to do with the situation. We got to be able to call balls and strikes. Most people will respect you. Like, you know, that was the whole thing about the whole Tulsi crowd, right? We can go and talk to the other side. We're going to call balls and strikes. So even though we might agree on the majority of the things and we're on the left, if they say something that's the truth is the truth, no matter whose mouth it comes out of. So I think that just wraps it up for day 2, fam. You got anything else to say about this?
No, fam. We'll see what happens tonight. I don't expect her to go after AOC to go after the Democrats and the soul and the honor and the bullshits that we've heard. So if you don't have to watch it, don't, because we'll just have a recap for you guys anyway. But yeah, it's hard to stomach that. It's just such bullshit, especially at a time when people are hurting. And you're just going to go on with this charade and this facade of crap and think that people are going to swallow it and vote for you. These Democrats live in an echo chamber. They do not see that people in the South think. They don't see how people in the Midwest think. Those are the areas where it's going to hurt them, and they're not going to know what's what. Florida's going to go to Trump. I predict Florida is 100% going to go to Trump. I think Wisconsin's going to go to Trump. And I think when you see the swing states go to Trump, I think that means he's going to win the election. All the polls say otherwise, but they were wrong in 2016 too. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you know, fam, we got our stuff going on tonight. Here's election going on. It might be convention 2, day 2 today in Milwaukee, but in Florida, it is D-Day. and that's election day. We'll get results in tonight. We're going to be hanging around, going to the elections office coming up soon. We might even be talking to somebody who does the citizens audit to talk a little bit more about Florida and Broward County elections and how they tend to look at them. It's going to be really hard because, like we said, there's part of Dade, part of Broward. They have DRE election machines out here which have no paper ballot, so who knows what is what. It's going to be a crazy night. We're going to keep you updated. For Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella.
and Johnny Sue on that ones and twos over here, ladies and gentlemen. Convo out.
Bye.